Hello everyone and welcome to Inderes TV. Eltel just published its Q2 earnings report, and here with me to discuss the Q2 earnings report and as well as other topics, I have the CEO Håkan Dahlström. Welcome, Håkan.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's start with the Q2 earnings report. What were the highlights and where do you see room for improvements?
I think what I take with me going forward is, of course, that this is the 8th consecutive quarter with the profit improvement, and that all units are contributing to that. So all segments were better in Q2 than a year ago, and that's, of course, how we see performance, that you should beat your own past.
And room for improvements?
It's always room for improvement. And here I think that Sweden do great on net sales, also total contract value. However, Finland is not a surprise to me. We expected a decline on net sales, of course, but with that said, we are, of course, never happy to see a decline on net sales. But with the fantastic peak of fiber rollout last year, it was, of course, expected. So that is not sort of an urgent problem as I see it. This is something we work on sort of continuously to improve net sales. Same goes for Norway. We know that a large contract was ended by New Year. We have a change scope in that business. We have adjusted the organization. A decline on net sales is as expected. So I think that on the Norwegian side, there is room of improvement, particularly on the commercial dimension. We need to broaden the customer base. We need to find new business in Norway. Denmark, 9%. Denmark, Germany, 9% decline on net sales. Same as Finland. Not a surprise to us, but we are never really happy with the decline of top line, of course. So, yes, we should be able to do better on net sales.
Okay.
Profit improvement, however, I see 12 million euro year over year in the last 12 months. So that's our priority, and we're happy to deliver on that.
All right. And in connection with the last couple of quarterly reports, you have mentioned that there has been somewhat longer decision processes among your customer base. Is this still the case from where you see it today? And what needs to happen in order for this to change, in your view?
I think that it's very much the same, maybe even a little bit more during the second quarter. The situation in the world had not really improved since first quarter. The second quarter started out quite chaotic, and it has not really improved. So it's, of course, a difficult situation for decision makers to take large investment decisions. So we are not directly impacted by the geopolitical turbulence, but indirectly due to that. I would claim that business life, with the exception of the defense industry, where everything is speeded up, the other part of the business, I would claim that it goes slower.
All right.
And then that indirectly impacts also us.
And if we talk about the current demand picture within the renewable energy space, what is your assessment on the current temperature there? Are there any particular segments that show stronger momentum than others right now?
I would claim that energy storage and data center, but particularly energy storage, if we talk about renewable, they are very active. Here it seems like it's doable to get the business case together, and decisions are done. In solar PV, wind, we see that there is a lot of interesting projects, a lot of good discussions, but the decision is pushed forward. Data center, where I would say the whole Nordic is an interesting area with our capability to create green or renewable energy. So all Nordic countries are of interest, and we have great discussions in all areas. Here is something that I expect more business going forward. But some delays or postponement in solar and wind. Yes.
Okay. And if we talk about new and adjacent markets, that kind of business has steadily grown in its share of total revenue, reaching 6% in Q2 on an LTM basis, so 12 trailing months, basically. What do you see as an achievable mix between new businesses and the classic business, over, let's say, 3 to 5 years?
5 years is a long period, maybe a little bit too long for me. But if you think 3 years, I would say that we are above 20% of our revenue should be in new business 3 years from now, or I will be very disappointed. So in the second quarter, we do 10%. And that is 100% more than we did a year ago. Also, when we look at the order book, we see that we have reason to believe that we're going to be, if I say, more than 20% in the end of 27. Yes.
And you also talked about data centers previously. And at the end of Q2, you announced a new data center contract with Hyperco, further strengthening your presence in that segment. Could you just share your view on the growth opportunities that you see within data centers going forward?
I would claim that there is opportunity in all Nordic markets of different reasons. But the international, if you call them hyperscale or really large players in that business, they have an interest of putting more data center in the Nordic. Then there is, of course, a competition between the different countries. It's about taxes, energy prices, and where can they find land with acceptable cost to connect to the grid, to connect to the fiber network. But I would say that in the international perspective, it seems like the Nordic area is a good place for data centers. So I believe that with our competence, both in communication and power, we can gain business in this area. And I think we have seen that already, but there's more to come.
And if we shift focus to the strategy, how would you describe the progress during the second quarter? In what part of the strategy do you see clear tailwinds, and where are headwinds more pronounced?
As you know, the strategy talks about profitability improvement in the classic business or the core business, and that is the largest contributor to the profit improvement in the second quarter. And obviously, since the net sales is lower, it's on the cost side that we have been able to improve. And I think that it is about commercial going forward, more about commercial than cost. With the exception of Sweden. I think Sweden is doing great commercially in the commercial dimension. But I think the other units will have to step up a bit on new customer commitment and new increased net sales.
And in Q2, you also raised 130 million through senior bonds to redeem the hybrid bonds, refinance existing bonds, and also strengthen the general investment capacity of the business. Could you just elaborate on the benefits from this transaction and also what flexibility it gives Eltel going forward?
Yeah, it's now we have a much more simplified structure on the debt side. We have this 130, they are 4 years long. Before we have sort of had a yearly agreement and yearly discussions with more than one stakeholder, if I say so. And now we have this matter done, 130 for 4 years. It was a great interest in the market for this bond, so that was great to see. And in combination with a 60 million at today, not utilized, but it exists there, a revolver of 60 million. So this together improves our liquidity, of course. With that liquidity, flexibility comes. So I would say that now we have the prerequisite to operate the coming years. And that is, of course, great. Or we see an opportunity to accelerate the strategy by doing selectively minor M&A. That's an option that we haven't had, but might be possible now going forward. But we stick to the strategy about profit improvement, broadening the customer base and so on. But now at least there is also a possibility with a better liquidity to also think about acceleration in some areas.
And now that you mentioned M&A, are there any businesses or capabilities that you are eyeing on?
Yeah, I think that we could see a possibility to accelerate our strategy execution in power. if you look at the different segment we have, it wouldn't hurt to have a better or stronger power business in Sweden, in Norway. But we will not sort of create a mess for ourselves. So when it comes to Norway, for example, we will first deal with profitability and make sure that we are where we should in our own operation before we start to think about doing something like an M&A. But it should not be outside our strategy. It should be within to accelerate what we already have said we would do.
And also during H1, you appointed new leadership across some of your country units. Could you talk about what drove these changes and also what do you expect from this new leadership going forward?
Well, in the second half, or the second quarter here, we have appointed a new managing director for Sweden. I think that is not, it's a choice that's done by the former MD of Sweden. We have no differences in how we should execute our strategy or running the business behind this, neither in Sweden or Denmark. So that's an external resource coming in from Claes Elmberg, and I'm really happy to be able to recruit him for the Swedish business. Solid leader, great performance, a great track record. So I think that he will be great to have as a manager for Sweden and a part of group management team. In Denmark, we have been able to promote one of our colleagues. So they're also really great to see Tuk joining the team. And Tuk has a background, being former CFO of Denmark, so he knows the business very well. And now lately he has served as head of our service center, meaning that he has also now experience from all different parts of our company, from the production side. So really great to have them, and they both are now starting up the roles 1st of August. So we give them some time, but really good to have them there. But no drama behind this. We have had great performance from our MDs in Sweden and Denmark, and that is, of course, giving them opportunity also outside the company. So it's as it should be.
And if we look to the second half of 2025, what are the top priorities within the business, and what do you think investors should keep an eye on?
Well, the last one I leave to you, I guess. But for us, it's very much about consistent performing this improvement of the way of working, both on the production side and on the commercial side. Have to be able to work on the operation side and cost and efficiency, planning, all of that. Look at every subcontractor. Are we follow them as tight as possible? On the commercial side, are we taking all the opportunities to have better pricing, better invoicing conditions, get payment sooner to improve the cash flow? And I think you can see this in our net working capital, that we know a little bit about how to do it, but we are not satisfied in any of this dimension. We will continue. Then, of course, we have to broaden the customer base. Long term, to have a healthy company, we need to have a more diverse business. And that's what we do with the new adjacent business, but also broadening the customer base in the traditional business. This is our strategy. This is what is our priority. Then, of course, we will talk more about commercial, like net sales generation, TCV, during the autumn than what we maybe did in the beginning of this year.
Håkan, thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for watching.